everyone. Hope everyone had a relaxing weekend and a great Father's Day. Big shout out to the Independent Electric crew, ALR, and Nate Lane, of course, for facilitating this presentation for us today. Hopefully we get a lot out of it, and we can make sure that everyone is up to date on the latest and greatest from Lutron's Caséta system, our award-winning entry-level connected home system. So before I get into that, you might be wondering yourself, what's resonating with customers right now? Why do you see so many different things that have a smart label on it? Well, when you go into the average house these days, you'll see either a smart climate control, maybe smart shading. Everyone seems to have an Alexa system or a Google Home Kit. All of these smart items are now being sought after by homeowners, and they're becoming a prerequisite when it comes to renovating or remodeling an existing home, or even starting up a new one. So with all these different smart products out there, why wouldn't you put your lighting control system into this smart conversation? Well, you may be thinking, hey, I don't want to deal with my electrical anymore. It might get too complex. That might go out. Well, I'm here to tell you that Lutron Caséta is going to be your solution to a very effective smart lighting control system that's safe, reliable, and will give you the ease of mind from app control as well as local control as well. So the average home today has a lot of these different items here. So you may see a thermostat, a door lock, some switches, and some windows. And when you look at the graphic in front of you, you realize how much of a profit you can make both from an electrical distributor standpoint and an electrician standpoint by converting these different systems into smart lighting. But the thing is, though, is that most houses usually have one, maybe two thermostats, one, maybe two door locks. But when you start looking at the switches and windows, that's when the growth becomes exponential. You're converting about 22 switches and about 20 windows. And when you do put them onto a smart system, that's where you as an electrician and as a wholesale house can make a ton more money and develop and deliver a better solution to your customers. So how does Caséta do this? Well, Caséta is our entry-level connected home system, like I mentioned, recommended for homes up to about 2,500 square feet. I'll get into some of the range requirements in a little bit, but I want you to take note that Caséta is only offered in our standard palette of colors. So you have white, light almond, ivory, and black. And the system in total is limited to roughly about 75 devices. That's not usually a problem when you're keeping the house around the 2,500 square foot mark, but you'll also realize that when you go and add devices through the system, that getting to that 75 device threshold, you really have to be adding a ton of devices there. So it's a pretty good limit that you can outfit an entire home and still have room left over to spare for those onesie, twosie applications where you may want to add another device. So why wireless? The big thing is that it's flexible. You can scale the system as the needs change, which means that if your customer is maybe on the fence of getting into the smart home wireless space, they can try it in a single area of their home, and then if they like it, they like the functionality of it, they can spread throughout the entire home without the need to gut everything. You don't need to be tearing down drywall, and you don't need to be running wire everywhere. That leads me to my second point. It's easy to install. The push button programming makes adding other devices easy, cost-effective, and quick. No longer are you having to spend hours on callback service calls or adding another device. It's press and hold, and you're good to go. Finally, it's more profitable, like I mentioned, for both the wholesale house and that electrician who's doing the install. Because it takes less time, you can do more jobs using this technology while still charging roughly about the same. So from a installation and a distribution standpoint, this is the perfect system to give your customers a solution that they're looking for at a price point that they like, and it's going to make you more money in the long run. So when you start talking about wireless, what I've realized is that people may have had a negative experience with wireless in the past that may prevent them from getting into the wireless space. Lutron Clear Connect is what's here to mitigate against that, because Lutron Clear Connect is one of the best wireless communication systems in the market today. It utilizes ultra-reliable radio frequency on an ultra-low frequency that gives us reliable point-to-point communication while also giving us very, very good wireless range. Our wireless range line of sight is 60 feet. And if you've dealt with Lutron in the past, you've realized that our specs are very much on the conservative side. We've seen line of sight Lutron Clear Connect devices operate between 60, 80, 100, even 120 feet. We want to make sure that it's going to work every single time so that you as an electrician or as a wholesale house are not getting these unnecessary, unwanted, and costly callbacks. If you look at that graphic you see there, the reason we're on that 434 megahertz frequency is because it's a clear highway of communication. If you've ever been at a party or somewhere where they're utilizing a Bluetooth speaker at 2.4 gigahertz frequency, if you don't like the music on that speaker, you can quickly kick them off and put your phone on the speaker and you can play whatever you want. It's great for a party, not so great when it comes to lighting control. And so you want to make sure that your light control communication frequency is safe, secure, and point to point. Lutron is the only person on that 434 megahertz range, which gives you a really, really reliable way to communicate between your wireless Pico Remotes and your hardwired load controllers. This also gives you really great communication between our wireless smart hub and the entire system as a whole. So you can rest assured knowing that when you put a Lutron system that has Lutron Clear Connect in it, you're never going to experience any difficulties when it comes to our wireless communication. It simply just works. So when you're utilizing Caséta, you can utilize Caséta in a couple different applications. I'll talk first about what I refer to as our standalone solutions. When I mean standalone, that means without the use of the smart hub. As a customer or as an electrician or even as a wholesale house, the key words that I'm looking for here is if that customer specifies that they want to have app control, the smart hub needs to be on the job. But if app control is not a necessity, utilizing Caséta in a standalone solution is a very good way to give people a taste of utilizing wireless communication. The wireless three-way has been out for a number of years now, and it's been a very, very key product for a ton of electricians throughout the North American market. By simply hardwiring an existing load controller into that existing J-box, you can add a switch anywhere utilizing the Pico Remote and the wall box adapter plate, making that wireless remote, this little Pico you see right here, look like a hardwired existing switch, and that customer has no idea. So it's a really great way to add multiple points of control throughout the home without having to run wire, break drywall, and spend countless time and spend a lot of energy on a relatively simple solution. This, again, allows you to provide that customer with the point of controls they're looking for without the added work or cost that comes with hardwiring devices. But when you do want to add the smart bridge to the system, it unlocks a whole host of features that really make the Caséta system the best of the best. So going onto this smart hub, it takes only 2 connections. It plugs directly into your home's Wi-Fi system and it plugs into a micro USB for power. That's it. It's a simple little box like you see. It fits in the palm of your hand. And so what this allows you to do is give you a couple different things. I mentioned app control, but that's not it. So put your lights on a schedule. That is the #1 request that people seem to have is, hey, I want my lights to turn on at sunrise and off at sunset, or vice versa, or any combination of the two. The Caséta system makes it incredibly easy to simply go into a mobile app and set a schedule, set a scene, do the different things that you want to customize your system to your liking, and you don't need a computer degree to be able to do it. It's simply downloading the Lutron Caséta app, answering a couple quick questions, and then you're off and running basically the same way that you'd connect your phone to your car's interface system. Smart Away is a great feature if you are traveling a lot or if you have a secondary vacation house. So as you use the Caséta system, it tends to learn how you use the system. Hey, you're turning these lights on at a certain time, you're turning these lights off at a certain time. And so let's say you're going on vacation from Monday to Friday. You go into your Lutron Caséta app, tell the system, hey, I'm going on vacation. And what the system will do is it will randomly turn your lights off and on to make your home appear lived in. This is especially useful if you do have vacation properties, because what you can do is you can add multi-home like you see there, and you can toggle between your main house, your vacation house, or even a rental property as well. So you can be sure that if someone is, God forbid, looking at spying on your house, that your house is going to appear lived in even if you aren't home. Geofencing is another great feature that comes from the Caséta Smart Hub, and it works very similar to the way that the invisible fence for pets work. It creates an invisible perimeter around your home. I believe it's around 1,000 feet away from the hub. And so when your phone, the collar, triggers that geofence, it can trigger a certain sequence of commands, so that when you arrive up to your driveway or arrive up to your front door, you can have your outdoor exterior lighting turn on. You can have your kitchen lights turn on. You can have your front foyer turn on. Again, making sure that when you arrive home after a long day at work, that you're arriving to a nicely lit house, and again, adding to the safety features as well. I briefly mentioned scenes, but if you're unfamiliar with scenes, this is a single button press controlling multiple load controllers in the space to achieve a certain light output that is perfect for any activity. So this could be a dinner scene. So that could be dimming down your kitchen lights and turning on your dining room lights. Or it could be a movie scene, which is dimming all the levels down, or all the lights down to a really low level for that perfect movie ambiance. It's completely customizable, and you can call scenes however you deem fit in the Caséta app. And it's a great feature to have that is very popular with Lutron's higher end systems that you can now get in Caséta. And then finally, the integrations 1 and 2, like I mentioned before, smart products are resonating with customers everywhere. So it's important that when you install a smart lighting system, that it integrates perfectly with the other smart options that you have in the space. So this means that you're looking at the Alexas of the world, the Google Homes of the world, the smart kits. All of those major players in the smart industry, Caséta is able to play nicely with. So you can rest assured that if you have an existing Amazon system, Apple system, Samsung system, whatever you may have, that you can nicely integrate the Caséta system in there as well. So you don't need to change how you live in your home when you start adding a Caséta system. Now let's get into the parts and pieces. So the LED plus dimmer, if you've ever used a Lutron product before, a Diva dimmer, a Maestro dimmer, this has our same LED plus technology in there. You're getting 150 watts of dimmable LED capacity with 600 watts of incandescent. It's super easy to install. It has 2 non-polarity free wires and a ground, and that's it. It's a super simple install that can replace the existing switch or the existing dimmer that you may have and turns it into a smart switch. So as little as 15 minutes, you could be in and off the job and adding a second, third, fourth point of control for that customer to make sure that you're giving them the solution that they offer. But if there's one thing that I've learned about Caséta is that people tend to not necessarily like the way that the original Caséta looks. It's super intuitive and can tell you exactly how to control your lights. But the feedback that we've been getting from the market has been, hey, we want something that's a little bit more consistent with what I may have existing in the home. And that's where the Diva Smart really, really shines. That's going to be the product I have right here, as you can see. As you can see on your screen, it looks exactly like the Lutron Diva Dimmer that we've been known for years and years and years to have incredible success with. So you're getting the functionality that you have with the Caséta system with that traditional Diva styling that replicates many of the paddle switches that you have in your home. I've been in the California market for just about 2 years now. I don't think I have seen one traditional style opening. Everyone is using the Decora style openings with these paddle switches. And so I call the Diva Smart the most approachable way in the smart home because now you can simply replace an existing switch with the Diva Smart. It's not going to mess up the look on their wall, and they can get the feel for utilizing the Pico Remote system or the Smart Hub in an aesthetic that, like I said, is not going to mess up the look on their wall. They're not going to think, hey, I just put in a smart system because every device looks smart. It looks like the traditional Lutron products that you're used to with the added functionality of Caséta. And like I mentioned, it has the same LED plus technology, so you're going to get superior dimming performance, no dimmer interaction, and the ability to adjust both the high and low end trims. The Pico Remote is one of the most universal products in the Lutron product family, and it really, really shines in Caséta. So I mentioned this is how you're going to be adding the local point of control from any location. So if you want a light switch next to your bed, if you want the light switch right at that perfect spot at the top of the stairs, you can do that with the Pico Remote and utilizing either the wall box adapter kit or the Pico pedestals like you see here. You may be thinking to yourself, this is a tiny little wireless remote, especially if you have small children, pets, whatever it may be. You may think this is going to be the first thing that gets lost. And utilizing the accessories like the wall box adapter plate or the pedestals are the perfect way to ensure that these Pico remotes do not get lost. These Pico pedestals are pretty heavily downweighted. They very much increase the footprint of the Pico remote and allow for a very reliable point of control that's not going to get lost in between the cushions of a couch or taken by a pet and buried in the backyard. I mentioned the wireless range, so we have 60 feet line of sight, 30 feet through construction material. And like I mentioned, the 60 feet line of sight tends to be a little bit conservative of a spec, but like I will say, when you're going through construction material, concrete, steel, that's when the 30 feet range does become a little bit more stringent, just because concrete's concrete, steel is steel. Lutron has the best engineers in the world, but we can only go through so much. The Pico comes in a ton of different varieties, so we have 2, 3, 4 button varieties to accomplish any look that you're looking for. So if you just want switching, we have a 2-button Pico that can do switching. If you want dimming, we have the raised lower buttons as well. And you may notice that circular button in the middle. That's going to be a favorite button. So if you find yourself dimming the lights to a certain level every single time you hit the button or every time you hit that switch, you can simply program that into the favorite button by pressing and holding on that particular light level. And you now have a preset and all your Pico remotes. It's a very effective way to, again, make user efficiency a very great point with the Caséta system. Some other parts and pieces that we have in the Caséta system, the plug-in lamp dimmer is one of my favorite products that Lutron has. Reason for that is because when I moved into my apartment, I didn't have overhead downlighting. That's a huge cost cutter for a lot of older apartments, especially in California. So I had to use lamps. But what I hate doing is I hate getting out of bed, maybe walking through a dark room that has clothes everywhere because I don't clean, and then having to switch on a lamp number one, lamp number two. It's time consuming, it's annoying, and borderline unsafe. So by utilizing the plug-in lamp dimmer, I can basically program 2 lamps into a single module connected to a Pico remote. And I have on my nightstand a Pico remote on a pedestal that's programmed to all the lamps in my apartment. So when I get out of bed, one button press and I have a nicely lit space. It's one of my favorite products and it's super easy to install because it doesn't require any wiring at all. Simply shove it into a receptacle and you're good to go. The outdoor plug, perfect for holiday lighting. I know we're not in the holiday scene, but especially if you are controlling outdoor lights, the outdoor plug is one of the perfect options for that. So you get 15 amps or a 1/2 horsepower motor. Excuse the correction on the slide. It is just 1/2 horsepower, not 1.5 horsepower. And it's an outdoor rated GFCI. So it's IP66 rated. It can get rained on, snowed on, sleeted on, whatever it may be. It's durable, it's beefy. Just make sure that when you are controlling up to 15 amps of lighting or a 1/2 horsepower motor, that the extension cords you use to plug into that outdoor plug are the correct gauge for the correct application. I've seen too many times people hook up a flimsy electrical cord to a 15 amp rated GFCI and try to control an entire outdoor lighting control system, and something usually fails. It's almost always going to be that flimsy extension cord. So make sure you're using appropriate products with the outdoor plug. But it isn't just limited to lighting. I'm from South Florida. Mosquitoes are terrible. And what a lot of people do is they have plug load mosquito repellent systems. And this is a great way to have another point of control for that. So you can be sitting on your chaise lounge, you have your outdoor plug connected to your mosquito lighting control system, and then you have a Pico on a pedestal right next to your Bloody Mary, and you're off and running every time a mosquito comes. Simply hit the button and it zaps them away. The sensors, if you do need sensing in the Caséta system, we do offer a couple different sensors. They both look like that. You're going to have the PD-O sense for an occupancy sensor and the PD-V sense for a vacancy sensor. It has our Lutron XCT technology in there. If you're unfamiliar with XCT technology, it is our cross-correlated technology. If you've ever been in a room controlled by an occupancy sensor before, where you've had to get up and do a dance, the light turn on dance to get the sensor to notice you again, the XCT technology is what avoids you doing that at all costs, because that XCT technology is able to pick up both major dancing and minor motion. So that could be as sensitive as flipping a page in the book or typing on your laptop. You're never going to be caught in a room with a Lutron sensor in it that's going to turn the lights off when you are actually in the space. It's incredibly sensitive because when you're in that space, you want to make sure that the lights stay on while you're in there. And then it's very easy to program the timeout settings so you can adjust from 1, 5, 10, 15, 30-minute timeout options. When you're buying Caséta, it's really effective, especially on a cost side and from a SKU organizational standpoint, to utilize the Caséta kits. This gives you a 1-box, 1 SKU solution that you can hand to your customer and say, hey, look, this is going to get you everything you need to start up your Caséta system. We offer it in a couple of different flavors. I mentioned the standalone format, and we do offer that wireless 3-way kit. So that gives you a PD6WCL, a Pico Remote, and the wall box adapter for your wireless 3-way applications. But we do offer these in bridge kit packages. So you'll get the Smart Hub, you'll get the dimmer, you'll get the Pico, and that gives you a starter kit to be able to go into the home, give them the app control, and start up the system via the hub. Lutron does have a little bit of data on the device count associated with the hub. And what we're able to see is that over the span of 90 days from startup to 90 days after, the device count of the system tends to triple because you go into the Caséta app, you see all the different applications you can use Caséta for, and then you start adding to the system because, like I mentioned, it's incredibly scalable and it's incredibly flexible. So you don't need to restart from scratch every time you want to add a device. And it also gives you, as an electrician, the ability to say, hey, just try it out, tell me how you like it, and then if you like it, we can start adding more devices. What's great is that we also offer these in multiple component packages as well. So 2 dimmers, 2 Picos, 2 plug-in lamp dimmers, 2 Picos, a ton of different combinations that the IES staff is very well versed and has in stock for you. I will also mention that it's also definitely more price competitive to buy Caséta in the kits rather than a la carte. You're getting more with a little bit less, again, adding more value to the customer when you go and deliver the system. And that wraps up the parts and pieces of Caséta. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you all for your time and attention today. I really appreciate the support from both ALR and the IES team.
Thank you for attending this training. For this and many more, please visit iesupply.com or our YouTube channel, bit.ly/independent electric supply.